I signed up for propaganda because I needed a communications credit, and it met at night, which fit my schedule. And that's it. That's the whole strategic planning process. Not exactly a recipe for life-changing education, right? I figured I'd sit through some lectures about World War II posters, maybe watch a documentary about Goebbels, write a paper about advertising techniques, and check the box. Turns out that class rewired my brain. The professor started the first session with a challenge. By the end of this semester, you'll realize you've been manipulated more times today than you can count, and you'll understand why you never noticed. I remember thinking, yeah, okay, sure. I was young, smart, educated. I knew how to think critically. I wasn't falling for manipulation. Spoiler alert, I absolutely was. Here are 5 truths that changed everything for me. That semester taught me 5 things that have shaped how I see the world, how I consume information, and honestly, how I've built my career helping people navigate toxic beliefs and organizational change. First, we're all much more persuadable than we think, and I mean all of us. The smarter you are, the better you often are at rationalizing why you believe something, which ironically makes you more vulnerable, not less. Intelligence doesn't make you immune to manipulation. It just makes you better at defending your manipulated beliefs with sophisticated arguments. Second, everyone lives in a belief bubble and responds according to those beliefs. This isn't a moral failing. It's how human brains work. We build mental models of reality, and then we filter new information through those models. The problem? Most of us don't realize we're doing it. We think we're seeing reality when we're actually seeing our interpretation of reality, colored by every experience, fear, and desire we've accumulated. Third, deceptive, intentionally manipulative people can make us believe just about anything, especially when they hook into our needs, desires, and fears. This is the scary one. The propaganda class taught me that the best manipulators don't fight your logic. They bypass it entirely. They make you feel something first, and then your brain works backward to justify that feeling with rational thoughts. Fear is particularly effective. So is the promise of belonging, safety, or superiority. Fourth, normal, healthy people need multiple sources of information and peer-reviewed research, or they'll be taken into beliefs that don't hold water. One source? That's not information. That's indoctrination. Even 2 sources isn't enough if they're both echoing the same narrative. We need intellectual biodiversity. Different perspectives, different methodologies, different biases canceling each other out to get anywhere close to truth. Fifth, it's not easy to coach someone out of a belief that has become an anchor in their life. In fact, it might be one of the hardest things you'll ever try to do. When a belief becomes part of someone's identity, challenging that belief feels like a personal attack. The more evidence you present, the more they dig in. This isn't stupidity, it's self-preservation. Their brain is literally protecting them from the psychological pain of being wrong about something fundamental. So let's dig into what propaganda actually is. Here's what that class taught me that most people miss. Propaganda isn't just wartime posters and authoritarian regimes. Propaganda is any communication designed to influence your thinking, emotions, or behavior in a way that benefits the source rather than you. It's the systematic manipulation of information to achieve a specific outcome. And here's the kicker. It's everywhere. Political campaigns? Obviously. But also corporate marketing, social media algorithms, news headlines designed for clicks, influencer culture, self-help gurus, financial advisors with conflicts of interest, and yes, even family members who've learned that certain emotional triggers get them what they want. The best propaganda doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive wearing a villain's cape. It shows up dressed as common sense, patriotism, safety, justice, scientific consensus, or religious truth. It uses the language of protection while it manipulates. It claims to be giving you freedom while it narrows your options. Let's shift to how to see it. Learning to spot propaganda is like learning to see the Matrix. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's what to look for. Watch for emotional manipulation. If a message makes you feel intensely, especially fear, outrage, or tribal belonging, before you've had time to think, that's a red flag. Propagandists know that emotion bypasses critical thinking. They want you angry, scared, or euphoric before your logical brain can kick in. Notice the false choices. You're either with us or against us. If you don't support X, you must support Y. Propaganda loves binary thinking because it eliminates nuance, and nuance is where truth usually lives. Real issues are complex. If someone's making it sound simple, question why. Check the sources. Who benefits if you believe this? Who's being quoted? Are they credible? Are there conflicts of interest? Is this one person's opinion being presented as fact? Following the money and the power often reveals the motivation behind the message. Look for the missing information. What aren't they telling you? What questions aren't being asked? Propaganda works as much by omission as by commission. The stories that don't get covered, the perspectives that don't get airtime, the data that doesn't fit the narrative, those absences tell you a lot. Observe the repetition. If you're hearing the same message in the same words from multiple sources simultaneously, someone's coordinating that message. Organic consensus doesn't sound like everyone's reading from the same script. Staying grounded when reality itself feels negotiable. This is the really hard part. We're living in an era where we're not just barraged with propaganda, we're drowning in it. The volume has been turned up to 11, and the sophistication of the manipulation has gone exponential. AI can now generate convincing fake videos. Echo chambers are algorithmically reinforced. Facts have become tribal markers. So how do you stay sane? How do you keep yourself grounded in reality when reality itself seems to be up for debate? Diversify your information diet. I mean really diversify. Read sources that challenge your assumptions. Seek out people who disagree with you, but argue in good faith. The goal isn't to become wishy-washy or lose your convictions. It's to stress test your beliefs against the strongest counter-arguments available. Develop a relationship with uncertainty. The phrase, "I don't know," is an act of intellectual courage in a world that rewards confident assertions. Some things are genuinely unclear. Some data is genuinely mixed. Being comfortable with ambiguity makes you harder to manipulate because propagandists need you to crave certainty. Practice metacognition. Think about your thinking. Why do you believe what you believe? What would change your mind? Are you seeking truth or defending a position? This kind of self-awareness is exhausting, which is exactly why most people don't do it, and exactly why it's so powerful. Build a trusted network. You can't fact-check everything yourself. You need people in your life who will call you out when you're veering into conspiratorial thinking or accepting something uncritically. Not yes men, not people who always agree, people who care enough to push back. Check your emotional investment. If you find yourself getting defensive about an idea, that's information. Why does this belief matter so much to you? What psychological need is it meeting? Sometimes our strongest convictions are the ones most worth examining. The stakes have never been higher. Here's what keeps me up at night. Propaganda has always existed, but the tools for creating and distributing it have never been this powerful. We're in uncharted territory. The ability to manipulate perception at scale with surgical precision targeted to individual psychological profiles, this is unprecedented. And most people aren't equipped for it. Not because they're stupid, but because our evolutionary hardware wasn't designed for this. Our brains evolved to trust the tribe, believe what we see, and respond quickly to threats. Those instincts served us well on the savannah. They make us sitting ducks in the digital age. The good news? You can learn this. You can get better at seeing manipulation. You can develop the mental muscles to resist it. It takes work, ongoing, deliberate work, but it's absolutely possible. That propaganda class changed my life because it taught me that I wasn't as smart as I thought I was, and that was the most valuable thing I ever learned. It made me humble. It made me curious. It made me suspicious of certainty, including my own. And in a world where everyone's trying to sell you something, an ideology, a product, a version of reality, that humility and curiosity might be the most important defenses you have. If you want to dive deeper into protecting yourself from manipulation, check out my book, Manipulation Proof, for practical strategies to recognize and resist deceptive tactics. And if you're trying to help someone else break free from toxic beliefs, coach them out. How to influence someone out of toxic beliefs offers relationship-first approaches that actually work, because the most important conversations we'll have in the coming years will be helping each other stay grounded in reality.